what you said just there gave me a brilliant idea for another podcast.
Oh, tell me.
So I was thinking we'll call this the Where Are You Flying To podcast.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
And now,
Aye.
I'm the captain now.
coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California.
This sounds great. You sound amazing.
I always sound amazing.
It's the world famous
Everybody's hitting off like BFFs.
Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here today. And I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 150 of the Kris and Kristine Show.
Oh, fantastic. We are coming to you from Studio D.
What does Studio D stand for?
It stands for the design studio
Ooh.
of the Kris and Kristine Show.
No, we are at the Kristine Smith Design Studio that we have converted as an extension of our traditional K2 studios, which is normally inside of the house. But yeah, today we are coming to you from the Kristine Smith Design Studio. We got a cute little setup over here. I'm looking at you. You feel kind of far away.
Well, normally we're about the same amount of space apart from each other, about the same distance, I would think, right? Usually.
Maybe, except the difference is now that we have our microphones where we're facing each other. We've got the computer in the middle of us instead of you having the computer behind you. And I'm super comfy in my little chair over here. It's feeling pretty cool over here.
And I see the big love flower wall right behind you.
I know.
It fits you perfectly, having the big flower wall with a neon sign of love right in the middle. I totally get the vibe being in this room right now. And I know you had a client come by today to actually check out the place. What did they think of the whole place?
I had a client, Caitlin, that was over here today. So she lives in Tulsa, but she was flying out here for a couple of different wedding appointments. She's getting married in San Marcos in May. And I had reached out to her, remembering that she was going to be in town this week, just to see if we could finally meet in person, because we actually had not met in person yet. We've been working remotely, so we've met through Zoom and phone calls, but I'm doing wedding coordination and her floral designs for her. And so she came over today and she loved the studio. She thought it was so cute.
Everybody loves the studio. I mean, I love the studio too. I see this thing, I'm like, it looks amazing in here. It's like a little cute little office. It's actually a multi-purpose room because you do use it for actually making the flower bouquets in this room. So it's like a full-on like sweatshop up in here.
Why would you call it a sweatshop, you dingbat?
Well, I mean, you are the one in here, like you're hiring people. But I'm saying, like, you're in here.
No, it's definitely
stuff.
A workspace. Like today, before Caitlin came over, there was stuff everywhere because it was wedding flower chaos from this past week. We had 2 weddings, one on Thursday, one on Friday. And so there was piles of stuff everywhere. And I was looking around feeling like, oh, goodness, how am I even going to get this cleaned up? But you know what? It shapes up pretty quick here. The one thing I did notice, while it is like a blank slate in here and there's like, it's just the walls, it's so cute and, it has a couple of little decor items. I don't have any storage in here, which means that when I'm getting ready to have a client come over, there's no cupboards to shove stuff away into.
Well, you have that like little storage thing next to you. It's got a couple of baskets in there, but not a lot of space.
But that has my supplies. It has like pens and cleaning supplies and things like that. But when I have like bud vases and I had a baby shower and I did some crafts in here last weekend. So I had succulents and hot glue guns. And so I was having to like really get everything out of here earlier today. And so I stored it around the side of the shed in buckets.
No way. So if I go around the back there, it's all kinds of stuff.
There's just on the side, there's like 4 buckets.
Well, you know what? It kind of reminds me of when like you went to Universal Studios and they told us, when you do the whole backdrop theater thing, where you go around the back lot tour, they call it, and they have all these fancy looking sets, they say they only really make the front of the set look amazing. The backside's just nothing because the camera never sees the backside.
Right.
So just like your client never saw the backside of the studio,
right.
That's where all your stuff went.
Yeah, It was so funny because we were talking about bud vases. And when we were talking about the bud vases, I was like, oh, hold on one second. I have them right here in a bucket. So I brought the bucket in and I started pulling them out. She's like, that's a funny way to store them. I was like, I was in a hurry to clean up.
Yeah, it's like the kids just shove all their toys in the closet.
Exactly. That's what I did when I was a kid, too. It was like my mom would tell me to clean my room, and I just like shove everything under the bed.
Oh, under the bed for sure. And if you have like a nice little like comforter that kind of hang down a little bit below to like where it hang off your mattress down where it touched the floor, you could hide that little spot so you couldn't see under the bed.
Yeah. Okay, I have to tell you this one secret. This one time, so I was in, I think I was in 7th grade, and my mom had told me to clean my room. So I went into my room and I shoved everything under my bed and then everything in my closet because I struggled with organization as a kid. I just couldn't organize myself. Things would be out and around and I'd just like walk around it.
Only as a kid, you say, huh?
Excuse me, Buster, that was a low blow.
I'm just kidding, baby doll.
Yeah, sure you are. There's a grain of truth with that. But I shoved everything under my bed and then into my closet. And then I went to school. And I came home from school and I went upstairs to my bedroom. My mom was downstairs acting like nothing was wrong. I went up to my bedroom. My mattress was flipped up against the wall.
No way.
And she took everything out from under my bed and put it in the middle of my bedroom. And then she opened my closet and pulled everything out of my bed and stuck it in the middle of my bedroom. I lost it. I literally lost it.
Wait, she didn't? She lost it, it looks like.
No, she just did it. And it was like, it was just done. And I walked into that. I pulled a Jacob. You know, like the screaming tantrum.
How dare you?
Oh, I was.
How many out dare yous did you drop?
Oh, I remember I went,
I hate you. I want to leave this house. It's horrible living here.
I went ballistic. I'm not going to lie. And I will never forget that my mom, she got angry with me, but then she just said, just wait till your father gets home.
Oh, gosh. That's like the worst ever.
And I was like, and then my dad came home, and let me tell you, it took a hot 10 seconds for him to put me in my place. And yep, I will never forget that day. It was like, don't cross mom because dad's going to back her up every time.
That is so true. You mentioned about flipping the mattress up and over. That's kind of what they do when they do the prison jail cell, like when they go and toss the cells, they call them for contraband. Like,
how do you know that?
Well, I've watched so many TV shows on this. I've watched so many documentaries on I used to be into those. Of course, Locked Up Abroad was where they,
You always watch that show.
But then they had another one I used to watch. It was all about the jail systems or prisons, or it was like a documentary reality show about being inside jail or the prisons, and they were talking about that kind of thing from a guard's perspective and of course the inmate's perspective. And it was all, I think it was on the Discovery Channel back in the day. The Discovery Channel, all the good stuff. Man, what happened to them? But but I remember those things too, tossing it up and hiding all kinds of good stuff. But that's crazy. Your mom actually did that.
Yeah, she did. And so I learned a very quick lesson, which is you don't do a halfway job of cleaning your bedroom. And I had to learn how to start really tidying up after myself. And so, I feel like cleaning is overrated.
Yeah, that's why you hire someone to do it. That's what you got to do. You get to the stage in life where you just hire people to do all your messes for you, clean your messes up for you.
I mean, I try to keep us as tidy as possible, but in this house, it's like cleaning up after 5 people is way different than just cleaning up after one person. I mean, you got to realize before you and I got married, Zeke would come down and he'd stay with me, on his weekends when he would come and visit. But for the most part, it was just me in my little apartment. And if I put something somewhere, then 5 days later, it would still be in that same place because I was the only person that lived there to move things. And so,
well, I saw things as just the opposite. I would see things like, hey, I'm the one person living here, so I can clean up my little area. So my messes were very small and contained because they're just me, and I would take care of it. And it was very easy to clean up after myself. But when you have to clean up after everybody else, that's a little difficult.
Exactly. That's what I was saying is like in my apartment, it was always so tidy. It was so clean and organized and spotless.
And, speaking of cleaning up, just yesterday, you and I both went up to the Los Angeles area to Fullerton to take care of a wedding.
Yeah.
It was like an 8-hour, was it 8 hours?
No, it was a 12-hour gig.
12
plus
hour
driving 2
gig.
hours on each side.
But speaking of cleaning up, we did not have to clean up. Well, we kind of did, but not like.
You say we didn't have to clean up. Let's be clear. All right, friends. So, Kris, I did invite you to go with me. And by the way, you were a great assistant yesterday.
Well, thank you so much. I'd kill it.
Even though every time I would ask you to do something for me, you were like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, fine, I'll do it myself. You were very good company for me. And you kept my spirits up the whole day. But it was a very long day and we got exhausted.
Oh my goodness. The wedding was at some event, some wedding, what do you call it?
A venue.
A venue, I guess. And we were there and they already had a florist already picked out to do all the flower stuff.
Right.
But I do have to say that your flowers are way better, like a million times better.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, the florist did a very nice job. And
It was very nice.
She executed the bride's vision, and my style's different.
Your style is different, but I like your style.
Thank you.
You know,
I appreciate that, honey.
It's awesome. Like, your style is, I mean, you take so much, like some of the flowers they used, I thought were kind of like those basic flowers you get like at the side of the freeway selling you in the little plastic bags.
Don't talk down about somebody else's. Yesterday's wedding was beautiful, and it was the bride's vision.
Well, I'm sure it was great.
And so we're not going to speak bad about it.
I'm just saying
they had a different florist. That's fine. They had a florist. We were hired for coordination purposes.
So when someone hires you for coordination only, not the flower gig, so what does that mean? Like, say, hey, I need you for coordination. What do you do?
Well, it's interesting because this wedding, they had their ceremony at a church, but the church fee that they paid included a coordinator at the church. So I didn't actually have to go to the ceremony at all, which is helpful because I give my clients a max of 12 hours. And what was happening is their ceremony was at 12 in the afternoon. Their cocktail hour didn't start until 4. So they had this huge break in time. And so I asked my clients, like, do you want me to start before the ceremony? And then my time would only go, like 10 hours from then.
10 hours?
Yeah. So 10 hours from then, which would be because I would have to start at like 10 a.m. before the ceremony. Then I would have only been there until like 8, which wouldn't have gotten them through all the way of the reception. And we'd have like 3 hours of dead time. So they said, no, we don't need you at the ceremony. We want you for the reception. So you and I drove up. We started at 12 at the venue. And then what we were hired to do is put out all of the extra decor. So they had a florist. The florist took care of all of the florals. But when I arrived and I was unpacking everything, I realized that there were table runners for the tables.
Now, for those who don't know, what is a table runner? Is like a waiter, or what is a table runner?
A waiter?
A table runner runs to the table and gets the food.
No, table runners are fabric that go down the center.
No way. They're fabric?
Okay, ding that. It's a flat fabric that goes down the center of the table. So we had to move all of the centerpieces off of the table and put down the runners and put the centerpieces back down on top. Then we had to the bride had purchased special little glass candle holders and for little tiny candles, like 3 or 4 per table. So we had to take those out, get the candles in, put those out on the tables. We had to put all of their cutesy little pictures up. Let me think of what else. Oh, get the seating chart up. And just all of the little things that we had to do was just kind of, all of the little final details for the wedding. Make sure that I went over everything with the caterers to make sure that everything was going to be out correctly. We had to go run an errand to pick up some pastries, some Mexican sweetbread. It's called pan dulce.
Pan dulce.
Pan dulce.
Pan dulce.
And so we went and picked that up, and that was like 20-minute drive each way. And then, so this was interesting. The venue that the bride and groom selected, well, it does one entree. Like you choose the entree, that's what everybody gets. And so they were having a chicken dish. But what happens if you're a vegetarian or a vegan? Well,
you eat crackers?
No. Well,
croutons, maybe a salad.
Right. You have to eat something else, and the venue doesn't provide it. So you have to bring it in from the outside. And so I was talking with the bride a few days before, and I asked her, did you make arrangements for the vegan meals? She had 3 vegans. And she said, no. And she said, there's just 2. And I was like, okay. And she said, here's the restaurant that I want to go through. And I was like, okay. And I looked at it, and it was like a 10 or 15-minute drive. And I was like, gosh, I'm going to have to go pick that up right as I'm doing the grand entrance. And so when we got to the venue, I double checked that day with the bride. It said, so we're confirming 3 vegan meals. And she said, oh, no, 2 vegan meals. And she said, no, it's 3 now. So thankfully I double checked. And then I talked with the venue, and they let me know that 2 doors down from them, there was a Lebanese restaurant that had vegan dishes. And so I went down after we were doing some of the setup stuff, and after we got the pastries, pre-ordered and paid for the meals, said that I was coming to pick it up at 5:15, then went back to finish setup, and then was able to get all of those meals right after we did the grand entrance, and I hand delivered them to each of the guests after the catering staff plated it.
What if it was something they didn't like? Because even though I'm not a vegan, like they say this, like if you're a vegan, but how much would they even enjoy what you got them, or would they like something else? I mean, I don't know.
They were grateful.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
they were
I didn't know
grateful.
if the actual the variety of vegan food is quite variety like it is of regular food.
Well, that's the interesting thing. When you go to a wedding, you sign up for whatever they serve you. But the nice thing is this wedding had a ton of food. So they started off with this, like their cocktail hour had a huge charcuterie table, like meats, cheeses, grapes, berries, things like that.
Crackers,
veggies,
things like that.
crackers, yeah. And then we went inside and the guests had dinner, and it was a chipotle chicken and veggies, rice, and a roll. And then we went, did toasts, and then they cut the cake. I don't think the cake served everybody because the bride and groom didn't even get served cake.
They had that little sample piece they do for the pictures and things like that, but that was
but
not.
typically,
I did see them bring cakes out. I did see them bring slices.
Right, but they didn't serve the bride and groom. They didn't even get a slice of their own cake.
Well, they were busy dancing the night
No,
away.
you always serve the bride and groom first. Always, always, always. So they didn't get cake. But then they had the pan dulce that was out there with the coffee. And then a little bit later, the taco lady arrived and they had these, what were the hot dogs?
Okay. They're seriously heart attack grill hot dogs because they're a hot dog wrapped in bacon, fried on like a grill thing or something like that. That's how they cook them. So basically real bacon wrapped around a hot dog. And they serve it with, looks like they had vegetables like peppers and things like that.
Yeah, like grilled peppers and onions.
Right. So almost like you would do for a brat. I don't think they were brats. I think they're just regular hot dogs.
Yeah. So they had those hot dogs, and then they had El Pastor, and they had ground chicken and ground beef for tacos. And then they had it was like pork rinds. It's a thing with
I'm not a big pork rind guy.
I'm not either, but it's like a thing. It's like some people in the Mexican culture, they'll get the bags of pork rinds, and then they put lime juice, and then they put it's like the Cholula, like the hot sauce. And
right, yeah.
It's kind of like that, like salty.
But it's like a powder.
tart.
It's powder though, right?
Yeah, kind of. Well, it could be the liquid or it could be the powder. I think that they had the powder yesterday, but they had the liquid lime juice. And so then they also had like this fresh, natural pineapple juice. Anyways, there was a whole smorgasbord of everything going on. It was interesting.
And don't forget the alcohol too.
Yeah. But what was the really cool entertainment thing that we got to see?
It was a marching band that came through with all kinds of trumpets. What are they called again?
It was called a banda.
Banda.
Uh-huh.
It is all about the Mexican trumpets and tubas, and they had
clarinets, and they had a singer, they had drummers.
Yeah, they had a drummer too. They marched into like a marching band.
Yeah, it was really cool. So with the banda, when they are performing at a wedding, it's tradition that the bride and groom come before them and they enter in. So it was like a second grand entrance. So we got to take the bride and groom outside, and then the banda played the song that they wanted for their entrance. And it's a second first dance for them. So, for weddings where they just use the banda as their regular music, then they would come and have the entrance with them and they would go right into their first dance. But I mean, it was so loud, but it was so cool. And the bride and groom were really happy.
The whole entire place was going nuts when those guys came in.
Yeah.
It was like, it was almost like Ricky Martin just showed up or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're going crazy for those for the band when they were playing and all that stuff. It was
the
great.
banda.
The Bondi. Banda.
Banda. Banda.
Oh, gotcha. Follow it up.
It's instead of saying band, it's banda.
Hey, speaking of food and good food, coming up this week as we have this episode out, it is Thanksgiving week, and everybody loves a good Thanksgiving,
Yeah, and I didn't even tell you this, but we're having Thanksgiving at our house.
We are?
Yeah.
We might as well.
Your mom was going to have your sister and her family all over there and cook for everybody. And, her kitchen's not really very big. And so I just said to her, like, hey, we weren't planning on doing anything. Kris does have to go to work, but you're welcome to cook everything over at our house. And so she reached out this morning. She said, were you really serious about it? Because I want to cook and I just want you to visit with me and not do anything and relax. And I'll cook everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to let that happen. And so I'm really excited.
There you go. Yeah, take off.
Yeah, your mom.
Yeah.
Well, no, she'll be here, but I'll just visit with her and hang out. And your mom wants to cook.
No,
And...
man, you can take the day off cooking on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done that. Last year I did a lot of the cooking. Your mom did some too. But it'll be nice. I've just felt like it would be a nice opportunity because we have a little bit more room to have everybody here. And especially since your nephew Braden recently had a leg strengthening surgery.
That's right. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So we're really excited to be able to have them over here. So congratulations. We're hosting Thanksgiving.
And I have to work. So congratulations again, I guess.
Awesome. Well, speaking of Thanksgiving week, one of the things that happens during Thanksgiving week is that there is the busiest travel day of the year that comes the day before Thanksgiving.
The day before, I thought it was like the travel week started like a Monday or
No, typically
Tuesday.
Typically the day before Thanksgiving, out of all of the days of the year in the calendar, is the busiest travel day of the year. But kicking off travel, we have Zeke coming down tonight. I'm so excited. So I'm going to be driving over, battling at the airport on Thanksgiving week. And speaking of that, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people choosing to travel this next week.
They are. Do you think people travel more by plane or by car, or is it a 50-50 split, you think?
Well, I think that it just depends on where they live originally. But coming up next, I have a list of the top 10 domestic and then the top 10 international travel destinations that Americans are choosing to go to for Thanksgiving week. We'll be back with that right after this. Are you in the middle of wedding planning and feeling overwhelmed? There's no need to fret, my friend. Kristine Smith Designs is here to rescue you. Offering wedding planning, coordination, and wedding floral design services, let us help relieve your stress and make your wedding day dreams a reality. Visit us at KristineSmithDesigns.com. That's KRISTINE SmithDesigns.com and request a free consultation. You'll be so glad you did. And welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be chatting with you about the top 10 domestic and top 10 international travel destinations for Thanksgiving week.
Ooh, I kind of guess. Would it be anything like tropical, just to get away from the cold?
Yes, surprisingly, there are lots of tropical places on this list. Are you ready for me to jump right in?
Yeah, so this is going to be what again? The top 10?
So this first one, because we have two different lists. The first list is the top 10 travel destinations domestically. So inside of the United States, within the 50 states, the top 10 places to travel for Americans. Number 1 is Orlando, Florida.
Now, why Orlando? I know it's warmer down in Florida this time of year. I would think it's not.
I don't know. Why don't you take a guess at what people would be going to in Orlando?
Don't tell me Disney World.
Absolutely. Ding, 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 ding.
On Thanksgiving, I did hear that if you do go to a theme park like Disneyland, Disney World, whatever, it's open. I know Disney likes to stay open every day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That I heard the crowds are a lot less on a Thanksgiving. I know people have done this with their season pass or year pass or whatever they have. They would go to Disneyland on Thanksgiving because to them, it's just turkey and whatever. I mean, not big, some of the restaurants may actually have that.
Mm-hmm.
They have fancy restaurants at Disney. Disney's known for their stuff.
Yeah.
So they may have a full-on spread at the theme park.
It's possible.
So you can still have Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, at the Plaza Inn.
Hey, what was that place we went to with the character dinner and all that? That was almost like Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, that was the Harvest Cafe.
And they had like really good food. It was buffet. It was all you could eat. They
meat, mashed potatoes, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
A lot of stuff was very similar to the whole Thanksgiving. So you could do that. And I bet the crowds are a lot less.
Oh, possibly. But I would say that the days before and after the holiday, they're probably super busy. Maybe on the holiday itself, not quite as busy. It's possible.
Yeah, you got to think most kids are out of school this time of year. So you got that going for you too. So anytime kids are out of school, theme parks seem to be kind of busy.
Yeah.
Kind of, for the most part.
Well, speaking of that, the number 2 place that Americans are traveling to on Thanksgiving week is Anaheim, California.
Now, let me guess. Is this for the other theme park named by Disney? It's called Disneyland?
Isn't it amazing that when we look at the top travel destinations, it circles around the theme parks? And then number 3, you can take a wild guess as to why this might be, is New York City.
That gets cold in New York City.
But what's happening in New York City during Thanksgiving week?
Is that the Macy's Day Parade?
Thanksgiving Day Parade, yeah.
They still do that?
Yeah, they still do it.
Is Macy's even around anymore?
You know what? been seeing them closing down, so I don't know if it's sponsored by Macy's still.
It's formerly known as Macy's Parade.
Maybe it's just going to be called the Thanksgiving Day Parade, but...
Is that the one that Santa Claus comes into?
Uh-huh. Yeah, It kind
Wow.
of kicks off at the very end.
You know, I hate to see this, but I was at the Costco the other day, and it's all their Christmas stuff. And I went to Best Buy earlier in the week, and they have their full-on aisles are like they have TVs like stacked up because the was a Black Friday sales this week, and they're all getting ready for it. Like last week, everything's getting ready. It's just kind of amazing me how they got all the Black Friday stuff set up. So if you're looking for a new computer, a new TV set, maybe Friday be the day to do it.
That is quite possible. Well, yes, New York City was number 3. Okay, the number 4 one really surprised me. I would never have thought of this. Number 4 on the list of domestic travel destinations for Thanksgiving week is Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Is it because of family or because of weather or both? 'Cause
I don't know.
I mean, Dallas. You know what? I know why. I thought of just now.
What?
The Dallas Cowboys always play Thanksgiving for the. They always play on Thanksgiving.
But no.
Yes, they do.
And you think that's enough to draw people there?
I don't know. I don't see why not.
Well, I was wondering if when it said travel destinations, if it was looking at the flight patterns, because Dallas tends to be a hub for different airlines to fly through for people to then travel internationally. So like Dallas is a key airport.
They're an international airport.
Yes, as is like Atlanta. So I wonder if people fly there and actually fly internationally from there, or if it's actually a destination for them.
I just thought of something you're saying about the international, regular, national airports. Would be like John Wayne. Is that international or a regular domestic airport?
John Wayne is international.
It is?
Yeah, but it's just a smaller scale one. It's not like LAX.
Well, I think of like LAX. I know San Diego is supposedly international also.
It is.
It is? But
Yeah.
it's smaller though, I guess.
Yeah, it's smaller, but the San Diego airport, I mean, there's flights to Europe, there's flights to Mexico, there's flights to, all over Europe and Mexico and Asia. I think you have a stopover. I don't think they go directly to Asia.
What about Fresno? Is that international or no?
Fresno is an international airport because they have flights to Mexico.
Oh, well, check that out. I guess so. Oh,
Oh.
what trip?
All right. Well, literally, what a trip.
There you go. Yes.
Number 5 on the list is Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. Now that's gotta be because of the weather.
I think so.
I think all these cities you're saying that are south of like Colorado, it's gotta be all like weather related.
Yeah,
you
my
know?
grandparents used to go to Arizona in the wintertime, and they call them the snowbirds.
That's true. I used to hear that. Yeah, snowbirds. All the RVs come down with all
Yep.
the Colorado plates or Wisconsin plates or Minnesota plates on their RVs. They come down here and they live
It's
down.
like the Great Migration.
It is. I mean, who wants to live in snow? Hey, just funny. Just today on the news, I saw that. What field? What was the Bills? Like their field was covered in snow.
Ugh.
It's like blizzard snow all over
That's crazy.
all over the football field.
Can you imagine having to play football in that? That's
I
so
can
cool.
imagine watching a game in that. You know.
No, I can't. Okay, well, number 6 on the list is Honolulu, Hawaii.
Now let me think. It's just got to be because of the weather. It's the only thing I can think of.
I think so.
And they probably have great deals. They have great deals time of year.
I don't know if they have great deals, but kids have typically a week off of school plus the weekend before and after. So if you think about it and you're a family and don't want to travel during Christmas break because it's peak travel time, then maybe you take just, a week off, travel, one weekend, come back the next weekend, and you get a solid 5 days there. But you're not having to go through customs and getting passports and everything like that.
Yeah, I love Hawaii. Hawaii is like going to another world, but yet you're still in America because your phone works, your money works, your language works for the most part.
Mhm.
But also, too, I thought about this too, is that like if you're booking a trip to Hawaii during the week of Thanksgiving, most people are flying to like their relatives, their families,
Mhm.
wherever they could be possibly living, right? So what if you decided to book your family vacation during the week of Thanksgiving and just take the jet out of here and go to Hawaii? I think it'd be less crowded, maybe a better deal. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's less crowded or not, but it just sounds really like a nice place to go, especially if you're from an area of the country that is very cold.
Yeah, if you're covered in snow right now.
Right.
I keep seeing these pictures on like social media of people posting outside their front door of like their front lawns covered in snow. They have to shovel their sidewalk to get to their car.
Oh, my word.
Already. Like right now, there's probably a lot of snow going on.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised San Diego's not on this list. Number 7 on the list is, and I can't say this right, Kahului, Maui.
Well, it's in Hawaii. It's in
Yes.
the state of Hawaii. Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of deal. It's a tropical place. It's warm. In Hawaii, it does get cold in the wintertime, but when we say cold, we're talking it gets down to like the 60s or something like that, which is like nothing, But it's still pretty cold. It still stay pretty constant, the weather, for the most part. Year round, you pretty much expect like 70s or 80s for the most part year round, which is always nice.
Yeah.
And we went in October, and it was, like 80s when we were there?
Yeah, it was right around there. It was pretty warm, but it felt really good.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was hot a couple of days, like pretty hot a couple of days, to where it was like skinny strap tank tops, and yeah, it got really warm. All right, so number 8 on the list is Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, why would he pick does Atlanta get snow? I don't think it
No, it's too low for snow.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
No, I thought they did.
No, maybe in the other areas of Georgia that are like more hilly, but Atlanta, I don't believe that it does. But again, I'm wondering if people go to Atlanta as a destination, or if they're going there, like through there to an international location.
But this list would be people that actually go there and stay there. It wouldn't be like, hey, this is your layover destination spot,
Right. That's what I think. And then number 9 is Tampa, Florida.
Another warm city spot. It's probably, I've never been to Tampa. Now, they are on the Gulf side of the state, right? Mm-hmm. So I've never been to the Gulf of Mexico. I've never seen that. I think a lot of hurricanes, not this time of year, right? And that's probably nice this time of year.
Yeah, I don't think it's this time of year. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was last month that there were a lot of hurricanes. So maybe we're on the tail end of hurricane season.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But then the last number 10 on the list of the domestic travel destinations is Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Everything on this list, I think everything except for New York, was south, right?
Right.
Everything was in the warm spots. It tells you something. Hey, you want to live where it's warm, especially this time of year. I've never lived in a super cold destination. I find it very curious, very fascinating. What is it like to have to shovel your car out of snow? Like, how do you even find the road? Everything's just white. Like, where do you know where the curb is and the street is? Like, how do you even know that stuff? I know they have snow plows and they have the salt they sprinkle down, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But even with all that, I always find it kind of fascinating. Like, how do you even find out where you're going? And then what is it like to walk out and look at your phone's temperature and it says it's negative, 30 below. And you're like, it's just it screws your mind. You're like, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
Because I heard that once you get down to for me, the coldest I've ever been in is probably like 20 degrees.
Wow.
Which is pretty cold for me.
It's a lot colder than that.
I know you have, but I just wondered, does it make a difference between 20 and 0?
Yes, it makes a difference.
Now, does it make a difference between 0 and negative 10 below?
I've not been that cold before.
I was kind of wondering. I was asking somebody about that. Does it make much of a difference? Because I know on the extreme other side, when it's hot, 110 and 115, much of a difference, I don't think. 115, 120, maybe, but I think it's all about the same. I think once you 110, it all feels like crap, you know?
Well, did I ever tell you the time that Ezekiel and I got stuck out in Thanksgiving week in Minnesota?
Were you driving, flying, or what?
No. So we flew out there. My sister Kim and her husband Tim had just moved to Minnesota from West Virginia. And she didn't have a nanny yet, or a childcare provider for her kids, but she'd gotten a job and didn't know what she was going to do for childcare. I was a vice principal at the time, and I decided, it was a family need that I was going to take the time off of work, and I was going to go out and help my sister and take Zeke with me. And so Zeke and I flew out, and it was our first time traveling by ourselves. So we got a flight. We had to fly out of LAX. So I drove down with him. We stayed at a hotel. He was so excited the night before. It was his first big trip with just me. That was our first time that we traveled just the two of us. Wow. And he was, I think he was 4, maybe he was 5. And then we flew out to Minnesota, and then we babysat my sister Kim's 2 little kids, and then got her oldest to school because the 2 little ones were preschool and toddler age. And then so Zeke was there with his cousin Ashlyn, and they were 4 years old. We did all kinds of fun stuff. Well, at the tail end of the week, this huge storm comes in, and it was the night before we were supposed to fly out. And when I say huge, it was blizzard conditions, and it was right around Thanksgiving, which is kind of crazy. You were talking about shoveling in the snow. And I had a Ford Flex rental car, which is just like the one that I drove at home because I was like, if I'm going to be in the snow, I need something that I'm familiar with. So we woke up the next morning and we were going to have to go to the airport. And then I looked outside and it was completely covered. And then the plows couldn't even get through because the snow was so deep. And so we were trapped in the subdivision. Everybody was for the day. Fortunately, we had food and water and everything at my sister's house. And we thought, okay, well, we'll cancel because even the airport was shut down because of the snow. We would cancel our flight, move it to the next day. So we're getting ready to go to bed that next night. Another blizzard-like part of the storm comes in.
No way.
Yeah. Socks us in even deeper. And it was so deep that the snow drifts, because the snow was blowing, once it fell, it would blow. The snow drift was 2 feet taller than me, the way that it hit. It was like 7 feet tall. It was so tall. I have a picture of it.
No way.
Yeah. So we went to bed, woke up the next morning, plows still couldn't get through. We were delayed for 3 full days. And then the airport had been shut down for all that time until they plowed the roads enough. And then Ezekiel and I drove very carefully back to the airport to be able to get to our flight.
Was your car a all-wheel drive or a front-wheel drive? You remember?
I don't remember. You remember all of that kind of stuff, but I didn't have chains.
Well, I do know that if you live in the areas up there, up north Canada, or of course up in the Minnesota area and any place where it's really snowy, they say like the Subaru Outbacks are very popular because they have the all-wheel drive feature. I think most cars have an all-wheel drive version. I know your car has an all-wheel drive you can buy, and I know that other SUVs, other cars have it too. And I think it's a really popular sell item in places like that, and you really, really need it.
Yeah, we definitely did. We finally made our way back to the airport in our, big old puffed up jackets. And the kids had fun because they were, able to make little snow angels and things like that. But we went into my sister's backyard and she told me, like, you guys need to be careful because the snow is unexpectedly, it's super deep. So like when you walk around the house, just make sure that somebody's with you. I had no idea how deep it was. I had little Zeke with me and we were walking around the side of the house and he took a step and went down.
No way.
Yeah, he was like up to his waist and he couldn't get out. So fortunately I was there. I was able to pull him out. But like dangerous, snow can be very dangerous.
You need to wear like those tennis rackets on your feet. Those
snowshoes.
The snowshoes. Yeah, those things where you can actually walk around, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Well, okay, so those were our top domestic travel destinations for Thanksgiving. Let's hop
and San Diego is not on that list.
No, it's not, because we do get kind of cold, I think.
Not like Texas probably gets cold.
No, but
remember Texas had the big snowstorm they got blizzard.
That is true.
Blizzard did. We've never had that here.
You're right. Well, we didn't make it. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. But
yeah, well, actually, it's probably a good thing too. Less cars on the road. More people leaving town than coming in here.
Well, the top 10 travel destinations for international travel this Thanksgiving week.
Okay, question on this. International. Now, is this people leaving America and going there, or people who live in like Italy coming here?
Well, honey, we're the only ones that celebrate Thanksgiving, so it's us traveling.
Wait. No. Canada do. They have Thanksgiving.
No, they have a different Thanksgiving.
No, they don't. They have Thanksgiving also.
No, they have it at a different time, and it is not for the same reasons as we do.
Okay, well.
Okay, so our first.
Well, now why do we celebrate Thanksgiving?
Chris, let's not get into this. We're going to get into the international travel destinations for Thanksgiving.
Okay, this is assuming you're American and you're leaving town. Right?
Am I going to be able to read this at all?
Go right ahead. Don't let me stop you.
Yeah, well, you have 4 times. So the first item on the list, the first international travel destination is Cancun, Mexico.
Oh, another warm destination. And I wonder if they will even serve you an American dish of Thanksgiving when you go down there. Turkey tacos with guacamole stuffing.
Oh my gosh, that sounds disgusting.
No.
Okay, number 2 on the list. Well, first of all, Cancun. Which side is that on? That's on the Gulf side, right?
It's on the Gulf side. It's south. It's actually very south. It's close to where, if you look at Mexico, you see where it kind of goes from kind of fat to kind of narrow and kind of swings up a little bit. They are down there.
So it's near the tail.
Yeah.
So isn't Cancun part of like not the Mediterranean, what do they call it? Like the Caribbean, like the Eastern Caribbean?
No, they're on that side. They're on the Gulf side. So they are on the Gulf of Mexico, which is like shares with Texas and Florida. Right. Texas, Louisiana, it's all in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right. That's the Caribbean side.
No, the Caribbean, I think Caribbean's like Florida side, like down by the like below Florida. Isn't that Caribbean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So not up top where, oh.
So they're not quite.
I see what you're saying.
But Cancun's not quite high. They are low. I heard they're lower than Miami.
Okay.
Like if you look at Miami and Cancun like a straight line, Cancun's lower than Miami, but it's all
so very tropical then.
Yeah, I heard it's very green, lush.
Like a lot closer to the equator, I'm sure.
Yeah, I heard that when you stay there in Cancun, it's not that far to drive to see the pyramids when you're in Cancun. They've got tours and things like that.
Yeah, well, number 2 on the list is a place I've always wanted to go, and it's Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Ooh, now that is definitely in the Caribbean, I know.
Yeah, and Jamaica sounds amazing this time of year.
Yeah, I've never been down to the Caribbean. Jamaica, what's the other? Puerto Rico's down there too. I think Jamaica's south of Puerto Rico, I believe.
Yeah, we're getting into all this geography. I don't need to get into all of it. Just know that I wanted to go. The next one I've always wanted to go to also. And
all these places you want to go to.
Yeah, Aruba.
Where is that on the map?
Aruba, Jamaica.
Is it by Jamaica?
Ooh, I want to take it to Bermuda.
There you go.
Isn't that like a Beach Boys song?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I don't know what Aruba is famous for, but it sounds amazing because it's.
I don't even know where it is on the map. So if you said we're going to Aruba, I said great. North, south, east, west. I don't know which way to go.
Okay. Well, the next one and it's Los Cabos, Mexico.
Oh, I think I've been there a couple times or once.
Yeah.
I think that's down there. If you go,
that's an easy little trip. Like if you're from California, I could see that like going to Los Cabos would be like pretty simple.
Right. It's like an hour and a half flight from here or LA, direct flight down there. It's down there. If you don't know where it is, if you look at Mexico and it has that peninsula on the left side, on the Pacific side, the peninsula, it's at the very bottom part of Baja, the very bottom of the tip, like the very, very bottom of the point.
You are very good with your Mexico geography. Look at you, rock star.
I know.
You're like acing it over here. Okay. Number 5 on the list of international travel destinations is Nassau in the Bahamas.
That is where they have that super cool Atlantis like water park slide.
The Atlantis Resort.
With a water slide that you swim, it goes down through like sharks or something, through a tunnel and you see shark. I heard about it, but I don't know.
We were supposed to go this past summer.
What happened?
Subject.
What happened about that?
We're not talking about it.
Somewhere better, though, I think.
Yeah,
maybe. Mickey Mouse.
Well,
oh, boy, thank you for coming to see me.
I just can't even with you. I'm still bitter. Nassau in the Bahamas. Okay, number 6 is St. Lucia in the West Indies.
Okay, another place I don't know nothing about. Now, where is that on the map? Is that in the Caribbean?
No.
Is it over by the Pacific?
You know what? I don't know.
See?
I don't know.
You do. You don't know.
I thought I did, and then I started to think of the map in my head, and this just shows how like unaware I am of the world.
It sounds like it's definitely in a warm spot.
Yes, and it's beautiful. So it's supposed to be. But the number 7 one on the list is not a warm spot, and so I'm puzzled by this one. The number 7 travel international.
Wait, don't tell me. Let me guess. Is it like Switzerland or something?
No, not quite.
Okay. Germany.
No, not quite.
Is it in Europe?
Yes.
Okay. Italy.
No.
Greece.
No.
Oh, I know. Is it London?
No. Getting closer.
Spain? Is it? Oh,
No.
Is it France? Paris, France.
No, that's not closer.
Yeah, it is.
You said London, and I said closer.
It's a 10-minute laser jet. What's it called? Not laser.
It's an hour.
Rocket ride across.
Rocket ride under the channel.
Yes, that's I heard. Yeah, 10-minute rocket ride.
It's not 10 minutes, but no, it's Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, well, really?
Yeah,
really?
I was puzzled with that too. I wonder if like how many people were surveyed on this list. If it's like 4 people went to Dublin, that makes it number 7 on the list.
Well, I mean, it's funny, but if you look at the map, Ireland is not on the same island as England. I didn't know this. I thought they were like one big giant like thing. Ireland is actually on the left side. So Ireland is closer to America than England is.
Yes, it is.
Just because now how far apart are those?
They're on the same land.
They're not.
Okay, you keep talking. I'm looking this up now.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. So Ireland is on its own island to the left of England. Now, England is on its own island, of course, too. So in England, it's the island to the right. It's a bigger one of the two. But I wonder how close they are together, if you like. Because I know they're next to each other, but not really close. But I did hear that the Channel, as it's called, where you go on the little super train that takes you from London to Paris.
How did I not know that Ireland is a completely separate land substance? You are right. You are right. You're a big fat right. But for some reason, I thought that it was, dude, you're killing it with the geography tonight.
But I want to know is how far apart they are. And can you like take a ferry boat or is it like you take an airplane or something? Like, I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm going to look it up. You keep talking.
Okay. But I do know that if you take the fast super train from London to, I heard it's only like 10 minutes, travel, but they travel like 100 miles an hour or whatever it is under the sea. Now that'd be crazy. I've always wondered, like, if that train breaks down, like under that whole like underwater tunnel.
Nope, don't even get us started.
How do you get out of there? Like, what do you do to get out?
Nope. That's so scary. Okay. According to Google, at its closest distance between Ireland and England, they are 12 miles apart. Ireland and Britain are just 12 miles apart at the Irish Sea's narrowest point, but waters run deep here in every sense. For the past century, Ireland's northeast corner has been part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Very interesting.
You said waters run deep. What are you going to walk across?
No, like waters run deep, like the history is deep.
Oh, I thought
okay, but it says
if you
that
sink, no one's getting you.
How far is Ireland from England by train? Dublin is around 286 miles, 461 kilometers from London, and the journey takes 4 hours and 6 minutes. But if you travel on holidays, it could take longer. So Dublin, Ireland is number 7 on the list. Now we have a tie for number 8.
Hey, before we move on, I would think the most popular time to go to Dublin, Ireland would be St. Patrick's Day.
I'm sure that it is, but this is just saying like what the top places were during Thanksgiving week.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. So number 8 is a tie. 2 places that I wouldn't have guessed. Tel Aviv, Israel, and Calgary, Canada. It's a tie for number 8.
Well, they are 2 places that are 2 different continents. I can tell you that much.
Brilliance over here across the table from me. Wow.
Thank you.
That was like earth-shattering information there.
You know, I did learn something in school. Public schools, the public education system.
Hey. All right.
Yeah.
And then because there was a tie for number 8, our number 9 is our final one on the list. And number 9, travel destination is Paris, France.
Hey, I guessed it. I said it was Paris, France earlier.
Yeah. Well, you were like saying like 17 other ones too.
So these are places that you would want to travel to get away from America and do your own thing. Because obviously they're not going to have Thanksgiving dinner there.
Right. Well, this is just the top 10 places that Americans choose to go to during Thanksgiving week. You know, when we say that it's like the busiest travel day of the year, I always wonder when I go to airports, like, oh, where's everybody going and what are they going for? And, you know, people travel to see family, like you said, by train, by car, by plane, by boat. But I think by far that when we talk about the busiest travel day of the year, it's that we're talking about plane and car traffic.
That, you know, what you just said just there gave me a brilliant idea for another podcast.
Oh, tell me.
So I was thinking we'll call this the Where Are You Flying To podcast.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
You have a portable microphone, the Zoom PodTrack P4, like the one I have right here.
And you walk through the airport.
And you say, hey, where are you traveling to? And you put a microphone in their face. And they say, oh, I'm going to see my relatives. I can't stand them. My gosh.
Oh my gosh, you could get some really fun stories.
Or you say, I'm supposed to go on a work trip right now, but my ticket says Hawaii, and I can't turn this down. Or I'm going to see my mistress. Don't tell my wife.
Oh my gosh, don't say that.
You just never know what you're
You're horrible.
You know what's funny? I saw this super funny, super hilarious like meme on Instagram. I had to repost it. It was so funny. It was an airplane landing, and it says a text thread. It says the wife and the pilot are talking to each other as he's landing. Okay, honey, I'm coming for a landing. And she's like, okay, great. I'll see you here. I'm outside waiting for you. I can't wait to see you. And then she says, oh, by the way, who's Jessica? And then the plane just like, takes right back off again. See you later.
That's funny. Well, this has been a great episode. Any last thoughts you have for our listeners on this wonderful Thanksgiving week as they're preparing to spend time with family?
I think enjoy this time to be very thankful for all the things you do have versus the things you do not have. And that means going to Black Friday. I know you're going to see all the Black Friday deals. You're going to see all the Thanksgiving sales. And I don't even know if they're open on Thanksgiving. They used to be open on Thanksgiving Day. Remember that? Like the whole day was open. But I think a lot of those places said, you know what? We're just going to do it for Black Friday. And I've never been the one to go in at 4 a.m. to buy a TV. I would maybe go during the day and see what they have left over. But I heard I was telling Jacob today, it's pure madness. Well, it used to be madness.
Yeah.
People got killed.
Yep.
Going to Walmart for a TV. Like the security guard or whoever it was got trampled and died.
Yeah. I'd say take a step back, everybody. And we've been through in this whole world, not even just in America, but in the whole world, we've been through a really challenging couple of years. And, we started this podcast right before COVID started. And then we really got really deep into it through the middle of COVID. And I think it helped us get through a lot of the challenges associated with COVID just because of, being able to talk through things and bring up, different relevant topics and feel connected with the outside world. So I would say if you're choosing to gather with people that you love, even if you've lost some over the last couple of years, remember not to take that time for granted because it's been such a hard journey and we were so separate from so many people for so long that this is a good year to celebrate just getting back to what's most important. I, for one, am not going to do any Black Friday shopping. I made that decision this year. I just want to focus on being present with family and just slowing down. But I do think that I will take the end of this week to start doing some of the decorating around the house for Christmas, which is my favorite.
If you think Kristine's wedding planning is crazy off the hook, you got to see what Kristine's designed for her Christmas stuff. It is like, I'm not even allowed to even decorate. I'm not allowed to touch nothing. It's like, don't touch it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it all.
I love it.
And that's fine with me because if I did everything, it would be literally like, hey, honey, it's like Christmas Eve. Are we going to do some decorating? I guess so.
Well, one thing I was wondering about, because with Zeke being a senior now and he's not down here as often and the boys kind of being in and out, whether, different activities and things like that, I know it's normally an off limits thing, but I was wondering how you would feel about us actually bringing the tree out before Thanksgiving so the boys could help us decorate it.
That's fine. The reason why I say it's fine is because it is a fake tree, so it's not a real one. If you put a real one in on Thanksgiving, it'd be dead before Christmas.
But I just meant because before you'd been like, we don't put the tree up until after Thanksgiving. But it's our kids.
It is. Yes, I will make an exception for this situation.
Okay. So tomorrow we're going to start pulling everything down for Christmas.
Sure. Let's do it.
Just at least the tree. I mean, I could do the rest of the stuff while the kids are gone, but I think at least the big tree, they get excited. They play this silly little mariachi song and they dance around like crazy kids. And tomorrow would be perfect because tomorrow just happens to be our 2nd anniversary.
Yes, it is anniversary. As you hear this, it'll have already happened, but I love you, babe, and I'm so glad that I'm married to you. Of all the other women I could have married. But
oh my gosh, that is like a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one. You were so sweet and sincere. And then it was like, you should be so happy that I chose you.
Well, actually, I'm very happy I chose you.
Well, thank you.
I hope that you're content with choosing me.
I am. And, it's funny because we had offers of your mom offered to watch the kids so that we could go out for our anniversary. And the one thing that I'm really grateful that we decided was, we can go out on a date and we'll definitely do that. Spending time together is important. But more than anything, especially since we've been apart a lot this year because of different schedules, that we're going to go out as a family tomorrow to celebrate 2 years of officially being a family. So I think that putting up the Christmas tree, the kids will just love that.
Oh, that is fantastic. I think it's a wonderful cap for my vacation week. By the way, I've been on vacation all week long. It's my vacation, Kris, in the house all this week.
I know. Wouldn't it feel so good to go back to work and have the house looking so cute for Christmas?
Especially going into Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because I think Thanksgiving really officially, if you think about it, globally or nationally anyways, is that it's really kind of kickoff for Christmas.
Right.
So there you go.
Absolutely. And so we're going to take time to slow down and be with family. And so we hope that we will be back with you next week because we know we did take a couple of weeks off, but it was because we were focusing on our family and focusing on spending time together. So thanks so much for loving us and being patient with us and listening to all our episodes.
And if you want to find out more about the Kris and Kristine Show, you can go to the website, which is KrisandKristineShow.com.
And we'll be back with you next week.